recording on here in 3, 2. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Pick 6 podcast. My name is Brad Gilmore, joined by the General, Jeff Smith. This is our debut for season 2 of the show. We made it through 12. Now we're picking again, Jeff.
Is your voice going to make it through this episode is the question. It's already showing signs of pro wrestling announcer.
It is giving Jim Ross right now.
Yeah.
He's been broken in half. Look, I will say, when we're doing this is Super Bowl Sunday, so congratulations in advance to the winner of that game.
Yeah,
and
congratulations, Seahawks.
Yeah, shout out to my guy, Bad Bunny. And
oh, yeah, Green Day.
Last night, we had Reality Wrestling's Battle to the Bell, which is a ladder match show. So you can only imagine how much screaming and yelling and oh my's there were on the commentary desk.
Do you have an accidental filler go-to when you're commentating that you realize later, oh, I got to stop saying oh my or check it out or anything like that? Is there something that that's come to your attention that would drive me insane for myself? So I'm sure
there's 3. There's 3.
Okay.
When I don't really have, like, when somebody's like really getting their butt kicked and I don't really have much to say, I'm just reacting to the shots. I go, oh,
Yeah.
And then if a big spot happens, I find myself always going, holy hell.
Holy hell.
And then the one though that I like, that I always try to sneak in, because I think it's my like little signature, is if somebody, like, let's say they throw a clothesline, bang, and then the guy feeds up and he hits him with the second clothesline, bang. What I'll say is like a big lariat from Jeff Smith, and boom, there's its twin. And because he hits him with it again. And so I like. I like there's its twin if they do it again. So
what if they do it a third time? Does that mess it up? And do you get upset?
No, I just go, oh,
holy hell.
Holy hell.
I like it.
You know,
okay.
I say holy hell, and I say good God in heaven, I think.
Oh, so you go on both sides of the spectrum.
I go on both sides.
You're like Macho Man. You say opposites.
I say the opposite.
In the same sentence.
Now, here's another one I say that I like is if a guy, like a baby face, comes in and he starts kicking everybody's, you know what? I'll say, like, Zilla Fatu is in here raising hell until it's heaven.
So you go into like Southern preacher mode sometimes.
There's a lot of like, maybe it's
there's a lot of
Baptist church. I don't know.
Yeah.
It could very well be. But you know what?
And now you've got Peter Brady action going here. It's time to change.
Yeah. Yes. And here's the interesting thing is
we'll be the judge of that. Yes.
And growing up in the South, I like that. Growing up in the South, right? You're used to maybe some of the imagery and the accents that are featured in our movie of the day, Life.
Ah, yes. Yes. Oh, look at professional broadcaster.
Bringing it back, brother.
Bringing it back. Someone's got to. Life,
so,
yes.
This is my first pick of the season. This is a movie that I did not grow up with, that I did not find until later in life. I figured, I was thinking about it this morning. I was like, when did I see this?
Later in life. I'm sorry.
Life. Yeah. I was trying to think of when did I see this movie? And it was one of those movies to where it was in 2019. I remember that. And I remember it was when you're kind of scrolling through, seeing like what's on Prime that you could just kind of fall asleep to. And I saw this poster and it had Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence on it. And I go, what is this? And 1999, I was like, I should know this movie. And it was Life. And I remember going to the radio station the next day and telling Booker and our co-host at the time, Jerry Bow, I'm like, man, I watched this movie last night, Life. And they both looked at me like, you've never seen Life before? I said, no. And then Jerry Bow said, these are his words. He said, it's a hood classic. And I go, well, I've never heard of this movie. And
they said, yeah.
There's probably a reason.
Yeah. You're not supposed to.
And so I really enjoyed it. But I will say this. I had not seen Life other than that one time. And because I know you're a child of the 80s in a lot of ways. This is your bag. We talk about Back to the Future. We talk about Clue. And I don't know if audiences today realize the magnitude of Eddie Murphy in the 1980s, but he was like, he was I don't know. How would you grew up in the era? How would you quantify his star power?
He would have been right up there as far as in comedies as Chevy Chase, as Bill Murray, actors that he often carried the comedies. He didn't need a partner. If you'll even like John Candy or Dan Aykroyd, were actors that had to team up for the star power, because sometimes when they did it by themselves, even Bill Murray, I would
Yeah.
guess, other than Stripes, but he needed the other Ghostbusters for that to be the thing. But he could do it by himself. He did Beverly Hills Cop and The Golden Child and those movies. Coming to America,
48 Hours, Coming to America.
Coming to America, he basically
It's an
played
ensemble.
half the cast anyway.
Yeah.
And that's when he started doing that. And then in the 90s, he started to slip. And then there was Nutty Professor, which was huge. Women Be Shopping. That brought him back in a big bad way. And then Dr. Dolittle was a big hit, but certainly no street cred from anybody that appreciated his R-rated stuff. And he stopped doing the R-rated. In fact, Life, I think, is the last R-rated movie he did before Dolomite Is My Name, which was a huge comeback. And because people like, they love, absolutely. They love Eddie Murphy saying bad words. And so we missed it. So if you grew up with him in the 90s, you're thinking of him in the Haunted Mansion and Dr. Dolittle and all those little
Eddie Daycare.
If This Happens kind of movies. Where
Bowfinger was a good movie.
Oh, but I think Bowfinger is very good. That to me is more of a Steve Martin movie that Eddie Murphy is good in. And it's a
good
weird, it's weird that they teamed up. Like it always feels like, I don't know why Eddie Murphy's in Bowfinger. Like, how did they get him? Because it doesn't seem like something he would do at the time. He is playing two parts, but it's not heavy makeup or anything like that. He just basically does it as a character. It's a nice throwback to Eddie Murphy, like SNL Eddie Murphy, Bowfinger. I love Bowfinger. Bowfinger is one of my favorite Steve Martin movies, one of my favorite Eddie Murphy movies, but I don't think of Bowfinger when I think of Eddie Murphy movies. In fact, I forgot about it until you just mentioned it, and I got all excited. And then this one, Life, when it came out, I remember when it came out, it was 99. So, and I'm old, so I remember, but it was during Eddie Murphy's weird, like, do we go? And the poster that you mentioned, the poster is kind of a cheesy, it's like a gay joke. It's like, as Norm Macdonald would call it, what's the worst thing about prison? It's the anal rape. It's Eddie Murphy. That's probably the first time that phrase has been used on this podcast. Sorry, YouTube. I hope it's been 7 minutes. It has. Good.
It has.
We can say whatever the F we want. It has Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence squeezed together between two very large fellow prisoners, one Bernie Mac.
Yes.
And almost unrecognizable because I didn't realize he was that large. But on the poster, he looks enormous. And they're looking like, oh, no, we're about to get violated. And it's like a funny little gay joke, basically which is funny because this movie goes the other way with that, but as we'll talk about. So the poster, I don't think did it any favors either. The title is too smart, I think, for its own good, because it applies, but it's also kind of just, it's like when the movie came out recently, Plane. You're like, okay.
Let's put not a whole lot of effort in the title, but like really, I don't think there's a better title for the movie.
No, the title is great. I think it's too smart for the time. I think it didn't tell you he's a nutty professor,
right?
Or
it wasn't like
like Ray and Claude's life sentence. Or
snakes on a plane.
Yeah, people sometimes like snakes on a plane.
Yeah, but it's just very straight up. This is what the movie's about. There are snakes on a plane.
Although the trailer for Life did have, I remember it did have the moment where they said life.
Well, you have to.
Yeah,
you have to. I do
and
miss
not a
the
lot
era.
You could put in the trailer.
I do miss the era of movies where they would always have to say the title of the movie in the movie somewhere. You know, like next Saturday night, we're sending you back to the future. But you know which one irritates me is this movie right here, which is Remember the Titans. They don't say Remember the Titans. They say you'll always remember the night they played the Titans. And it's like, oh, you were right there. Just say they will always remember the Titans. Just say it. That's what we want.
Somebody should have said, remember what, coach? Or whoever said it. Remember what? Remember the Titans. I think that sounds familiar. I think we've talked about that before because the best example in recent history is Hot Tub Time Machine. Craig Ferguson? Not Craig Ferguson.
No,
Craig
no,
Robinson.
Craig Robinson.
Yeah, look at it. This looks like some kind of hot tub time machine. Look to camera. Clue never mentions that the title.
No, do they? They never
High
say
Fidelity
Clue?
doesn't mention this is some high fidelity action.
They never say Beverly Hills Cop.
They don't. They never say Shaun
Maybe
of the
I'm
Dead.
wrong.
I'm just looking at posters on my wall. They never say Jaws. They never say Rear Window. No one ever says, you know what this is? This is Spinal Tap.
Oh, don't you wish they did though? But these go too.
Yeah. What is this? This is
This is
Spinal
Spinal
Tap.
Tap.
That's all you need to know.
But Life is the perfect title for this movie. So
Life
like
is a
again,
good title.
why do you think you just didn't see it because it was the down period for Eddie Murphy? Like people remember also like this is what was the bit that David Spade did where he's like, oh look, a falling star.
A falling star. Yeah.
Murphy.
This is Distinguished Gentleman. Sorry, Clue director Jonathan Lind.
I like this.
But yeah, these are all fine, but they weren't
They weren't Eddie in the 80s.
Pluto Nash was on the horizon. It's just this is when Eddie Murphy just appeared like he was going through the motions.
Yeah. I'm here to pick up a check.
And then, having Martin Lawrence in, Martin Lawrence was popular to some, but he also, like, I wasn't a huge, I will admit right now, this will be one of those moments like Rush Hour where you go, what? I have not seen any Bad Boys movies.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's
I think I've only seen 2, now 3 Martin Lawrence movies.
What are we talking?
Maybe 4. I've seen the first Big Mama's House.
Yes.
Oh, wait, I've seen Boomerang. That's 2.
He's in
He's in that. He's in Nothing to Lose with Tim Robbins.
I don't know if I know that one.
What brought me to the theater for that one? I'm not sure. I haven't seen it since, but that was, I couldn't even tell you what it's about, but Tim Robbins is in that. There might be something else.
So I've seen a few, probably more than you, because I've seen National Security.
He's in Dolomite, right? No, he's not
in
Dolomite.
Dolomite.
That's Wesley Snipes. Oh, that's embarrassing. Sorry, everybody.
I've seen him in National Security, Blue Streak, Big Mama's House, Black Knight, which is not a good movie. The movie he did with Danny DeVito where they're like stealing a ring from each other.
What's the worst that could happen?
What's the worst that could happen? This movie, Boomerang. So, I mean, more than you, I thought you were going to say you'd never seen Martin.
I did not watch Martin either.
Oh, see, that's what I love Martin Lawrence for. WB that turned into CW, they would always play Martin after school. And I would watch Martin and Gina and Pam and Brubman from the Fifth Floor and Tommy and all those guys. And I loved Martin. I love that show. And Martin Lawrence, as a stand-up, real strong. He used to host like the Def Comedy Jams all the time and really funny guy. And I just, as much as I love him, I always do think that he was kind of the number 2. Always kind of like, even in a movie that he starred in, it never felt
wasn't he top billed in Bad Boys? The first one?
I think he was top billed.
I want to say on that poster it's him and then Fresh Prince. And then that was that.
Come on now. Will Smith, like Will Smith's the star of those Bad Boy movies. And as far as this one, he does feel like he's playing the number 2 to Eddie. Yeah. Even though they're equally billed and they have equal screen time and both of them are highly focused on in the film, it's just Eddie's just Eddie. He's that guy. He's just that guy. And he's still so funny.
The funny thing that I noticed watching this about Eddie Murphy is it felt like, and we'll get into this. He's my scene stealer, by the way, when we get into categories, because I think this is Eddie Murphy's movie. But it also feels like his character, rather than the movie letting us feel how we want to feel, it feels like Eddie Murphy has a weird control over the entire movie. And I can't think of any other movie I felt that in, but it's like when he's on screen, he decides when the scene is funny. And then when the scene is going to get serious, like when he decides to have a talk with Biscuit out of nowhere, it kind of comes out of nowhere. But it's like Eddie Murphy decided we're going to be serious now. And then that scene happens, and then Eddie Murphy decides we're gonna be funny again, and it's just like a weird. I can't describe another movie, like I said, where I felt like the main character was motivating how we were supposed to feel, as opposed to the movie making us feel a certain way. It's like this was his. He was in control. We're gonna be silly now, and then we're not. But it was always him. Like it cut to him when, or even at the end when the fire breaks out, it cuts to him. It's like he's telling us now we're serious again. So yeah, definitely his movie. And it felt also like this is the first time Eddie Murphy started to do his dramatic stuff, which I don't think people were ready for maybe at this time, because all we saw was, ooh, it's another Eddie Murphy in makeup comedy. So maybe it's like Nutty Professor. And it feels like a transition movie for him. Like some other actors, like Bill Murray has that too, where like, oh, he's not there yet with the drama, but you could tell we're almost there.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what's interesting is this movie was Eddie's idea. He came up with the idea for the movie of two guys serving life in prison, and he pitched it to what's Ron Howard's partner's
Brian
name?
Grazer.
Brian Grazer from Imagine Entertainment. Yeah. The man with the hair. And they developed the concept, and I think this was after Nutty Professor, which was also an Imagine movie. And so they did help develop this concept. And I think that they had somebody else in mind before Martin. I watched a behind the scenes making of it like last week. And I'm trying to remember who it is, but they had another name originally attached other than Martin. And I got to figure out who that was, because it's going to drive me crazy. But when you think about casting, this movie's got a strong cast. When you think about the names that is in it, like when you were watching, were you like, oh, he's in it, he's in it, he's in it?
Well, it felt almost like you could tell it was 99, because certain people that did a lot of things in that era, like Truman's friend from Truman Show,
yes,
pops up in it. And also there was the guy that plays, I feel bad I don't know his name. He plays the not Morgan Freeman narrator of the movie. I was watching him
Willie
going, yeah. And I was watching him going, this guy, when he looks at the camera and smiles, he looks so familiar. And it was driving me nuts. And then I realized, oh, he's the doorman in That Thing You Do that smiles at the very end. And I've seen That Thing You Do like 1,000 times. So that was driving me crazy. But that's also 98, maybe 90. It's around that era. So, and then this is young Bernie Mac, before Bernie Mac, I think, was known as an actor. I think this is before he had a show.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch the show either. I didn't watch the show either.
Bernie Mac show, I forgive that one. I mean, it's good, but it's not like, the best in the world.
Yeah. My Bernie Mac is basically Ocean's movies. That's how I know.
Well, I mean, but this is right before that. You know?
Did him like a gene. But
yes.
But Bernie Mac, every scene he's in is good. He's got some good lines.
Oh, he's got some of the best.
And the best character name.
Yes. The character names in here are phenomenal, which we should probably look. Let me just read. Here are the names of some of the characters. Jangle Leg, Biscuit, Poker Face, Hoppin' Bob, Radio, Can't Get Right, Cookie, Goldmouth, Arm That Went Up, Spanky, Blind Reverend Clay. I mean, just phenomenal. Names. Phenomenal. These are great. These are great names. So like, okay, as you're watching this movie, like we talk about some of the cast, and I want to, we'll get into it when we get into Peak of Powers on some of them in particular. But my favorite part of this movie is actually, I mean, I don't want to say my favorite part, but some of the most enjoyable parts of the movie are the pre-prison scenes. Like I enjoy seeing the 1930s and seeing these two guys in New York City, and you're trying to figure out who they are, and when Ray is trying to convince Claude, excuse me, exactly who that they went to high school together, and you see Eddie in this and to me that's like a callback almost to Beverly Hills Cop type Eddie, where he's like, I'm going to pretend to be something, whether the Rolling Stone reporter interviewing Michael Jackson or the delivery boy delivering the medication or whatever it was, or the bomb, or I don't know whatever it is, right? It felt like that style of Eddie, which I think I really enjoy when he's in those scenes where we're in on the joke, that we know he's full of it, but like we're enjoying seeing him go on it. And what I liked about that scene is Martin Lawrence showed, look, this might work on everybody else, but I'm going to night school. I'm educated. This isn't going to work on me.
I didn't go to that high school.
I didn't go to that high school. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I like. I like that kind of
that's your Eddie
I like
Murphy.
that kind of Eddie. Yeah.
He's best when he plays a con artist, and Dolomite, he's kind of like that too, to a degree. But it's also why the first two Beverly Hills Cop movies are great, and Beverly Hills Cop 3 is not great, because he didn't want to play that type of Axel Foley anymore. And then in Beverly Hills Cop 3, Axel Foley's just kind of boring.
Yeah.
And that's also that era of Eddie Murphy of life. It's also Beverly Hills Cop 3 Eddie Murphy, which no likey.
Yeah, remind me, did you like Axel F?
Yes.
Yeah, I did too.
I was very pleasantly surprised. And I did not like, though, Coming to America. That was painful.
Do you think that
Coming to America, the first one, is probably my favorite Eddie Murphy movie. So that's just another one of those, and it's why you go into some of these legacy sequels or sequels decades too late. You go, that's why Beetlejuice was a nice surprise. It probably wasn't as good as I felt afterwards, but it was so much better than Coming to America. Another title way too clever for its own good. And even Spinal Tap 2, I'm sad to say, not necessary.
It had moments in what is the subtitle of Spinal Tap? The new one?
The End Continues. It's the funniest joke. Continues.
Great.
The title's the best.
Great joke. But the scene with Paul McCartney when they're in the studio, I do like that. Like there's a couple things that I think are funny. But it's not, when he's like showing him where he can hide the cheese in his guitar. I'm like, what are we doing?
Right. It could have been a comedy special on Netflix, and that would have been fine. It didn't have to be called a sequel, but it was just also weird going back to that Paul McCartney thing. Is like Spinal Tap was supposed to be bad.
Right. And
in the movie, they're terrible. They're like, oh, Big Bottom. And like, no, you don't like Big Bottom. Nobody likes Big Bottom, really. Mm-hmm. That's weird that it just...
And Elton was a fan.
Yeah.
You know what, though? The guy who played like their clueless, what was he, like a manager or something?
Oh, yeah, the bad guy.
When he quits, he says actually a really funny line. He says, gentlemen, this has been something approaching a pleasure. Which I just think is that's a great
feel that a lot of your junkets, I would imagine.
This has been something approaching a pleasure, which is just a great title. But okay, real quick before we jump back into life, best legacy sequel is?
Ooh, I don't know. You're gonna have to give me time to think about that.
Okay, I
liked the Jason Segel Muppets. That's kind of a comeback movie.
If you count that, I'll go for that. Because there's the Jurassic Worlds. I don't think we're going to say those. There's the 2 Indiana Jones movies. I don't think we're going to say those.
No. I wouldn't say the Star Wars. I thought Force Awakens was fine when it came out, and then they pooped on it.
Yes, with Last Jedi. Is it Axel F?
Maybe. Axel F.
It's not Bill and Ted.
I liked that Bill and Ted, actually. I haven't seen it since it came out, but I was fine with that one.
I just don't think
that's a weird movie because I don't know if you want to see old Bill and Ted. It's tough when they're young, like in high school for the first movie, and then see them later. That's a little rough.
Yeah.
It wasn't Jay and Silent Bob reboot, I can tell you that. Or Clerks 3.
No.
Wasn't not that new, but there was a return of Pee-wee kind of Netflix
I remember that one
that I had trouble with.
I'm trying to think of a great Lego. Oh, okay. Hey, stick with me. Afterlife?
No.
With like
No, didn't
Axel F.
like that either.
Afterlife?
Yeah, for sure.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I prefer Axel. I'll give it to Axel
Me
F,
too.
which is
I'm gonna give it
appropriate.
to Axel.
Eddie
I'm gonna
Murphy.
give it to Axel F too. Should
But,
we get in anything you want to say before we jump into categories? Because I feel like we're gonna have some fun with some of the categories here.
I kind of already jumped in. My scene stealer is Eddie Murphy. It's his movie.
So why do you say that?
Just for everything that I said in the last 20 minutes that you haven't been paying attention to, Brad. He dictates
Because
the
you were saying,
entire
so
story.
essentially what you were saying is he's running the point. If this is like
Yeah.
an NBA offense, he's the point guard.
Yep,
Like, hey, I'm
absolutely.
gonna open this shot for you. I'm gonna pass it over here. Okay, I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna take it up the court. I'm gonna set a pick and roll. Like this, I'm essentially making this happen.
Follow me.
Follow me. Which I agree
Yep.
with. I do like slick talking Eddie Murphy,
Mhm.
and I like one of the best scenes in the movie is where everyone's going around the table saying what they did to get into prison,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like I skinned this person alive, or I killed this, or whatever. And then he just he knows, okay, I got to make something up here. You know what I mean? I got to make something up because, like, I guess this is part of like the it's actually kind of an interesting insight into maybe prison culture in a way, because it was like, okay, everybody here is like legit killer. I'm not, we're wrongfully accused because we're two, black guys in Mississippi in the 30s, and they're just going to throw the book at us. And he's like, for my survival, I need to make sure that people fear me in a certain way. This is at least what he's thinking about in the moment. And so he goes on this rant about how they went on a killing spree. They killed everybody. You don't know about Ray and Claude killing spree? Like, we went everywhere. We killed this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. And it leads to him and the cornbread scene. It's like that's the same scene where homeboy wants Martin Lawrence's cornbread, and Eddie Murphy actually, and what was interesting is, and you tell me what you think. At first he's BSing, right? Like I'm just talking a big game because I don't want any problems and I'm gonna make them fear me. And you could tell he was doing it from a place of fear, right? Like I'm afraid, so I'm gonna make this story up. But then when it gets to the cornbread scene, which is just seconds later in this movie, he actually seems legitimately not fearful at that point. He seems like legitimately like, no, don't give him the cornbread. F that. Like, that's your effing cornbread. Tell him to get his own effing cornbread.
He takes a stand, which I did think was odd because earlier, and it takes place, I don't remember in the chronological sense because it's kind of hard to tell with this movie until they get the old makeup going.
Right.
He was the one that wanted to leave the diner over the pie.
Yes.
He was the one that said, no, we should go. And Martin Lawrence was the one. And then they switch to Martin Lawrence is happy to give this guy the cornbread, and it's Eddie Murphy. And when I watched it, because I ended up watching this twice, the first time I thought, that's odd, because when in the scene in the diner where it's Eddie Murphy that wants to leave, I thought, oh, that's different because he's supposed to be the smooth talking con guy that I think he'd be the one that would try to talk them into giving the pie. And actually, I read that originally in the script, that's how it was, and it just wasn't working, and they kind of switched on the night when they were filming it and thought it worked better that way. But then you have this scene later where they totally reverse. So when I watched it the second time, I thought, well, maybe he's still just trying to carry on the persona of don't mess with us. And now I'm stuck. I have to fight about this cornbread. But he goes so far as to have a physical fight about the cornbread and get his butt kicked out in the yard over the cornbread. And then is proud that he didn't give up his cornbread. And I don't think that's another one of those scenes I thought this is happening because Eddie Murphy is telling us this is what's happening. But I don't know if the movie earned it.
Well, you know what? Another interesting thing that you bring when I'm listening to you talk, just when you look at the character of Ray, even when they first get caught and he's talking to the gangster, back in New York, and they're gonna kill off Martin Lawrence and dunk him in the water or whatever, and they have him all tied up. Eddie, for no real reason, saves his life. Right?
Yeah.
He looks out for him. Like, hey, give me this guy.
He's going to come with me. You know why? Because we need movie.
Yeah. We need movie.
But I have to have a guy sitting next to me.
It doesn't make sense why he stands up for him in that moment. And then he does the same in the diner with the pie. he's streetwise enough to go, look, bro, like it's all white people in here. Like we need to hit the
Yeah, we
bricks.
did see the
And Martin,
sign, and now we're leaving.
and Martin, who's supposed to be like kind of the more educated and keen, I guess maybe has this ignorance of like, oh no, like we're I'm it's a different time, right? Almost like
Yeah, he's from New York. It's different kind of vibe. He's a
it's a different
banker.
vibe. But Eddie's like, no, bro, like trust me, And then another scene is similar to that when they're digging the ditches and Martin takes his like prison shirt off and is like, look, I'm
I'm
hot.
just
I'm
hot.
tired.
Yeah, yeah.
But the whole time Ray's saying, bro, hey, you don't do that. Like, let's keep going. Come on now. Like
Mhm.
he's almost always looking out for him in those early moments. And I don't really know why, unless he just feels some sort of unspoken kinship to him since they're going through all this together. Like, or
At
it's just
that
he's more
point,
streetwise. Or maybe he's just more
yeah,
streetwise.
he's definitely trying to save his skin. So maybe the thought is that he does say in the cornbread scene that if you give it to him now, it's going to be something else later or something
Yeah.
to that effect. So maybe if he thought it's just cornbread, which is what Martin Lawrence thinks, Claude thinks, then fine, who cares about cornbread? But maybe he is savvy enough to know this is a moment, and we're just rewriting the script now, perhaps, but this is a moment where you have to draw the line. Like taking off your
Yeah.
shirt is not going to win anything because it's hot, but you can't give this giant man whatever he's asking for because it's going to be something else tomorrow, and maybe that's what he's fighting for. If that's all in there, then that's deep subtext, and good on them that they felt like we'd be smart enough to figure it out.
Well, and the guy who plays Willie, which is Oba Babatunde, um, he's the one who almost at first feels like he's the kind of keeper of the kingdom, if you will. He's also the one who's kind of narrating the story for us at the beginning, as Heavy D is digging a gravesite,
Right.
which is a strange random.
Now that we found a grave. That's Heavy D, right?
I think that is Heavy D. That's a good pull there.
Ladies.
But he's the one who says, okay, that's enough. He's taken enough of a beating.
Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, that's interesting. And maybe in that moment, he's like, oh, this Ray guy's got heart. Like he's actually a good, I don't know. It was just, there were like some really interesting emotional moments in what's supposed to be a comedy. There's a lot of interesting emotional beats.
Well, that's the thing. It seemed like some of them, maybe there were deleted scenes or things that. What's good about it is all the other inmates seem like super developed, like they have backstories.
Mm-hmm.
But it also feels like maybe they had more that we don't get to hear. Because it seems like he just decided I'm the leader of this, and he's had enough. But then he's never the leader again.
But he's never a leader again. Yeah, that's what I couldn't understand.
He shows up at their grave later,
mm-hmm.
I guess, because he liked them.
Yeah,
and supervises the burial. And I guess he was in on the little trick at the end that got them out of jail. But yeah,
it was there was some mixed, I guess, emotions in here. And then the other thing that I thought was interesting is in this time in the movie is I liked hearing the certain slang, between the what I don't know what the inmate, I can't remember what they called him, the inmate's name, who's like the subservient to the correctional officer. Called him captain, I think, at certain points, like captain.
He's the Samuel Jackson from Django.
Yes. He's the Samuel Jackson Django character. And but like even like when he says these two boys are from New York City and they're taking the long ride, right? And like the long ride is just life in prison. But I always like knowing like what the colloquialisms are like in the world, because it kind of helps me feel like I'm more in that world when they're talking like, oh, he's taking the long ride. So I guess that's
Right.
prison talk for he's in here for life or whatever the case might
Yeah, it's like going into Star Wars and they don't explain what a Wookiee is. It's just there he is.
be. Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
you're
yeah.
here. They're
Yeah.
making the towns, making the towns.
Making the towns, brother. And so I like that. So Eddie Murphy though is your scene stealer.
Yes.
Did you find any? Because I actually feel like Martin was I guess he was more the straight man.
He is the yes, I think he's the driving force of the story as far as
Yes.
plot goes, but Eddie Murphy is the one that tells us emotionally where we're supposed to be.
Yes, yeah, he's the emotional compass, and Martin's the engine.
But sometimes
propelling the
Martin
story forward.
makes choices that are dumb. I get it. He's lost it. He's going crazy. He just needs that pie. Okay, but you know it's not going to end well, or he's got to fight for that pie. He's not going 35 miles down the road for pie when you know this is they have guns and it's not going to go well. Or I'm going to go spend this $2 on this nice lady and we're never going to get home, even though 5 minutes ago you're saying that's our gas money, Ray. And then he succumbs to the power of the something,
Yes,
which happens. But he just every once in a while kind of loses his smarts. The banker, whose last name, by the way, is Banks. Come on.
that's like a first draft. Like
yeah, it's like, what are we gonna do? Call him Banks for now, and then they forgot.
Yeah. Well, also a lot of points in the movie, I didn't like Martin's character at all. I
No,
found
he's
myself
mean.
siding with
We're not friends.
with Eddie. Yeah, we're not friends. I'm not looking out for you. I'm not going to file an appeal for you. I don't
Mhm.
care. And then what happens when he doesn't file the appeal with his cousin? His cousin runs off with this woman. Like,
That's what you get.
He just continues to make these decisions that put him further into the dirt, as it were.
Yeah, I don't want to hear your plan.
Yeah. So I
Not gonna
guess
get
we
on the
were supposed to
airplane.
like him.
I don't know. He looked more convincing in the old age makeup than Eddie Murphy did, so I'll give Martin Lawrence that.
Well, we also should say, and let's not bury the lead, this movie was nominated for an Academy Award.
For best makeup, Rick Baker.
Rick Baker.
I don't know. It kind of took me out of it.
The old age makeup?
Yeah. I thought Eddie Murphy, I never was able to suspend my disbelief that this is old Eddie Murphy, which I can do in Coming to America, which I can do in Nutty Professor, and I could do in all sorts of other movies that he did. But in this one, it felt like, oh, we're doing this because he was excited to do this kind of thing back then. He just discovered fancy makeup, and now he
was doing it all the time.
Yeah, and unfortunately, his voice sometimes would go into the dad from the Clumps, or at one point he says, "Yeah, lion," and it sounds like Arsenio Hall in Coming to America. It just there were a couple moments where it was like, "Oh, this is normally funny. This is Hercules. But you're doing it for serious." And then they would have Arlie Emery come in and play a character instead of makeup. So they weren't even consistent with their rules. Do you put makeup on the young people and make them old, or do you recast?
Yeah.
And I guess it doesn't have to be a rule, but it bothered me.
They had to age him up. Like they couldn't just have older people.
I guess, but then why did they draw the line on the old police officer? It'd be like if they did Marty and Doc in old makeup, but then recast Biff.
That great call. That's actually a really good question.
I don't know why I decided that's a rule all of a sudden. You have to go all the way or not, because no one asked me. But
it's a good observation though.
It just was like odd for me. Because then when he showed up, because I was just thinking, oh, this would have been, you can't recast Eddie Murphy. I get it. But I also kind of was picturing the movie with different actors. I didn't decide who those actors would be, but I was just thinking the drama maybe would have played more if you weren't watching two actors play in makeup. And to me, it was obvious that we're wearing masks.
Well, I'm looking at Rick Baker. Now, Rick Baker, we have to say, is he the best movie makeup guy of all time?
He's definitely the most famous. He's the reason there's a best makeup Oscar, as we learned from the movie Summer School, they created the entire he wasn't involved in Summer School, but the two characters in Summer School, Chainsaw and Dave, love Rick Baker. And he received the very first makeup Academy Award for American Werewolf in London for the transformation scene. He did the makeup in a Thriller video, the greatest music video of all time. And he did the clumps in Any Professor. He did the makeup in Coming to America. He basically any like famous makeup transformation is probably
check
Rick
this
Baker.
out. He's been nominated, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times for best makeup at the Academy Awards. And he's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 11 nominations. And
pretty good.
Here were the ones that were nominated. You've already mentioned a few, but let me just tell them for the people. An American Werewolf in London, Grey Stroke, The Legend of Tarzan, Lord of the Apes, Harry and the Hendersons, and he won for Harry and the Hendersons. Coming to America, he was nominated for. He won for Ed Wood, The Nutty Professor, and Man in Black. Then he was nominated for Life, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. He won. He was nominated for Norbit, and then The Wolfman in 2011, which I don't know that.
Oh, the Benicio Wolfman, probably.
That
or is
was,
it? Yeah.
yes, Benicio. Okay. Who I recently met at the Critics' Choice Awards. What a phenomenal guy.
Flavio Ferrer.
Yeah, I love Benicio.
Who saw the track?
I love me some Benicio.
Was he weird?
No, he was awesome.
I like awesome. He could be both.
Yeah, I mean, he
seems like he'd be weird, which I like. That's why I like him.
I will say, he was not weird. He was warm. And no, he was great. He was great. Matthew Rhys is an all-time celebrity, though. Married to Kerry Russell, is in a lot of stuff. Matthew Rhys is an all-time guy for me. One of the nicest people you'll ever want to meet. And recently, Jennifer Garner and Judy Greer, who I sat down with in person. It was good. I was a fan.
Yeah, both of them.
Oh, yeah. I've had a long-standing crush on Judy Greer, which I've not told her, but I've interviewed her several times.
It's probably best you haven't, but no, I get it. And I can't put my finger on exactly why. I mean, not for the obvious reasons, yes, but I feel the same way. And
something about her.
Something. Good.
Great actress. Great picker. She picks roles really well. I love everything that she's in.
Yeah.
And she's a great beauty. Shout out to Judy Greer, my homegirl.
Yeah.
But going back to this, let's go to, so I agree with you. I think Eddie Murphy. No, I'm taking it back. It's not Eddie Murphy.
Take it back.
He's not the scene stealer. It's Bernie Mac.
Oh.
Django Leg. It's Django Leg. He's just in every, because so we're talking about a scene stealer, right?
Yeah.
So when they show up, who you talking about when it's over with? And even like, I mean, Bernie Mac, I guess he was playing, to put it nicely, dim-witted. Would that be the best characterization?
Sure.
In a PC environment of how to describe him?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because were we to believe that he had some sort of mental capacity issue?
I don't know, but he certainly wasn't
all the way there.
Super brilliant, or maybe he was.
Well, none of them were literate, right? Because that's actually a funny
that's
scene.
a whole scene. No one can read.
No one can read, and Eddie Murphy.
We'll get to that.
One of them, yes. Yeah, okay, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
But I just think Bernie Mac, and there's a very famous line that I'm going to get to later with Bernie. And I'm also unabashedly a Bernie Mac fan. I think he's one of the funniest people there's ever been in the history of the world. Yeah. And so it's hard for me to not say it's Bernie Mac as my scene stealer.
Well, a nice little segue into our next category then is I had him, because he's barely in the movie, probably as a crime. I considered him cameo and gave Django Leg, Bernie Mac, my best cameo, because he does, because you're not sure what his backstory is, he does make you wonder what's going on with Django Leg. He's partners with Biscuit, and he likes Claude Banks' texture of his hands.
Oh, they're soft like a
Sounds
lady.
like a lady.
Soft like a lady. What would you be all in on a Jangle Leg movie, or do you think the bit wouldn't last for 90 minutes?
No, I don't think he needs to be the center of attention, but I definitely would have been fine with him being in it
In the
more,
movie more?
and I would have been fine if all of a sudden you saw he was in a seat at Yankee Stadium at the end next to them.
That would be nice to see Jangle Leg do it. You know, I guess he would technically be my cameo. You know, I was thinking of like, because there are a few. There's, you know, Heavy D, like I said, but it's not like he was this great moment. But it was just like, what is Heavy D doing in the movie? I
Yeah.
always loved those moments. Like in Batman and Robin, Jesse Ventura's in it as a security guard for like no reason.
Right. Yeah, he
He's just
faints.
there. Yeah, and then he faints, and that's it. And you're like, what?
I'm
Or in
guessing it's the Schwarzenegger connection, but
yes, it has to be.
but
And then
it
like
is, yeah.
there's the movie with The Rock called The Rundown. Have you ever seen this?
Mm-mm.
Oh, that might have to be on the list. The Rundown was an early Rock movie. It might have been his first after Scorpion King. And it's him and Sean William Scott and Christopher Walken. But there's a scene in the movie where he's walking into a club, and as he's walking in, Schwarzenegger's walking out and just says, "Good luck." And I guess it was like supposed to be this symbolic passing of the torch, action star to action star moment. But it was just like, whoa, what? Why is he in the movie for?
What are you doing here?
Or even Brad Pitt in Deadpool 2, who's in it for a second, literally a second. And you're like, what? How did this happen? So Heavy D was just an interesting cameo for me. Can you think of the "What the hell are you doing here" cameo in like what's your favorite one of all time?
Oh gosh.
Does do any come to mind?
You know, Michael McKean's cameo or his part in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles seems to come out of nowhere as a state trooper, and I guess his part originally was more. But it is odd that he's one of the top billed people in the movie, and he just has a scene when Steve Martin and John Candy are almost home, and he just basically makes their car impounded, and then that's it, and he's gone. And it's a weird, like, another one of those, "What are you doing here?" And that's it.
Yeah, why?
Okay.
Why are we doing that?
I'm sure there are others I can think of where the problem is they're usually jarring and takes you out when it's somebody super famous and super unrelated, and you find out later, oh, they were visiting the set that day and decided to. Is it Dustin Hoffman in some movie?
I know exactly. Yes.
What am I thinking of?
The Holiday?
Oh, yeah.
He's in The Holiday.
Yeah, just there he is, because he was there.
He was there. Let's put him in the movie. Why not? Throw Dustin Hoffman in the movie. Yeah, I always love stuff like that. As we move on to our next category, it is we're doing some new ones here. But what do you have next on your list?
On my list, I have something classic for Pick Six, the Great Scott favorite scene.
Great Scott moment.
Great Scott moment, and I have two. I'll just pick the one that we kind of alluded to, and it's Ray reading Poker Face's letter that he's been carrying around for 4 months because none of the inmates can read, and so Ray reads it for him and basically informs Poker Face that everybody that Poker Face has ever known is now dead, and it's a very funny, just simple scene. And then he asks if anybody else has letters that they want to
they go, no.
be read, and they all say no.
Ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. That was a funny scene because he keeps going on. And my sister, what I can't remember her name. Oh no, yeah, she's
yeah. Is it her? Oh no. Oh wait, no. Ginny's dead too. Yeah.
She's dead too. That's a great one, and I really do like that scene. And that's also right when we get Bernie Mac and Claude have their first interaction with one another, where we're supposedly supposed to believe that Bernie is he, well, we'll talk about it. I mean, he's not gay, but he is, or it's like one of those prison things. What do you think?
He's not really explored, so who knows?
We don't
I'd
know.
say yes, because he's partnered up with Biscuit, but
Yeah,
he's got wandering eyes.
he's got wandering eyes. Yes.
Possibly yes.
So my scene stealer, or excuse me, my great Scott moment is the Spartacus scene. You know what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
I'm the daddy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm that boy's daddy boss. The pappy. That
out
is
of Pappy.
the scene for me, which is, even though like that's been done to death, the Spartacus scene in a lot of different movies and comedies over the years. That one in particular, this one was so funny. And it was like a nice, actually emotional moment where they all kind of band together and they stand up to the
Yeah,
authority and they're just like, I'm that boy's daddy boss. I'm the dad. Oh, that's be my child, boss. Out of happy. Like it's just such a great scene, and that's my great Scott moment.
yeah. I would say that's up there, and then my close to second was I liked the scene where they all are going to sleep and they imagine having an evening at Ray's Boom Boom Room.
Raise
And I thought that was very well done. It's makes this movie a little bit different to have a scene like that. It's a little stylized Ted Demi moment, and I thought it worked. And I thought it was very funny that Martin Lawrence is there working because nobody likes him at that point in the movie,
yeah,
and
he's not
everybody
well
else
liked.
is doing their favorite thing, like Cookie's eating a great steak, and Poker Face is playing, he's gambling, and they're
Mhm.
and it's all a night at Ray's Boom Boom Room. You got to go to Ray's Boom Boom Room.
So, two things on
I wish
Ray's
he
Boom
had
Boom.
Ray's Boom Boom Room at the end. By the way, that goes nowhere too. That's another one. They have these little things that they like set up, and then
It goes nowhere.
never
But
mind.
there's a couple things on Ray's Boom Boom Room I want to say. First, yes, I love that scene where everyone's doing their thing, they're enjoying themselves, and it was almost reminiscent of Sugars, right? From Harlem Nights,
Oh yeah, yeah,
Sugar Ray's. Um,
yeah,
and in this movie, in that Boom Boom Room scene, it reminded me of Harlem Nights, and because of also like Harlem Nights had this incredible cast, of these very prominent black actors and comedians of their day, all kind of collaborating. This one's similar to a lesser extent, but you did have Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy and Bernie Mac in the movie. You have Anthony Anderson in his first film ever as Cookie. You have a really solid cast of characters. And the other thing is, I would love to have seen a full movie of Ray's Boom Boom. Like I'm all
yeah,
in on Ray's Boom Boom.
yeah. Well, it might be Harlem Nights.
It's kind of is
But when you
Harlem Nights.
mention it, Harlem Nights, that makes me think too. Harlem Nights, when it came out, not a huge hit either, and neither was Boomerang for that matter. So it kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, that this was kind of in the Eddie Murphy, even the movies that we think are good now. Vampire in Brooklyn was around this time. It's
Yeah.
like he was doing some stuff, and that was another, hey, let's get makeup on. Isn't that fun? Not if the story's not good. And but yeah, and then there's also a reference to Harlem Nights in this movie where he's fighting about the
They're
cornbread,
fighting.
and he says,
Yeah.
I know a person named Della who hits harder than you," and that's Della Reese in the famous fight scene from Harlem Nights.
From Harlem Nights. Yeah. Yeah. And which is, it feels like it's being paid homage to in the
Mhm.
fight scene with Biscuit. Let's see. Our next category though, Jeff, is best shot fired, most
Okay.
cinematic moment. What do you got?
Best shot fired. Da, 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 da. Why don't you talk while I try to find it on my list?
Well, I mean, just for me,
Oh,
when
I
you talk
found it.
about the most cinematic shot, it was the Ray's Boom Boom Room scene for me
Mhm.
as well. Just the opulence. I love the opulence juxtaposed with they're in this prison camp. And even Eddie says it earlier when he's like, "Oh, every time if you ever go to New York, go to Ray's Boom Boom Room, most happening spot in Manhattan, right?"
Yeah,
And
you
then
should have seen
he's
it
like,
last
"What?"
night.
It's all in my head. It's got to start in your head.
Mhm.
It's got to start in your head, and then we pay it
Yeah,
off, where we see it in his head
yeah.
of what it looks like. And I just thought it was a really great juxtaposition between these guys in this Mississippi prison camp versus here's this opulence and this decadence of Ray's Boom Boom Room in Manhattan, and they're all having a great time. I thought it was very cinematic flair in that sequence.
Yeah, it's probably the most. There are little moments in here where they try to do something different, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. When we were talking about Ray when he's trying to BS his way through how tough they are. They've got some jump cuts in there that show that we're looking at different takes of probably improv of Eddie Murphy talking about how tough they are and how murderous they are. And
Mhm.
that to me, I thought was a little stylish out of nowhere. And they don't do anything else like that in the movie. And it felt like, this is almost an outtake reel all of a sudden. This movie won't have a blooper reel. And
Right.
then, but it does. And then, Boom Boom was kind of that way. And then the scene that I picked was just the passage of time where you see the different inmates when they leave
Mhm.
jail or their prison,
Prison.
and they just fade away. That's how you know either they got out or they passed away. We don't know, but eventually everybody's gone.
Everybody's gone. And you bring up an interesting point when we talk about tone and we talk about cinematic moments and things that they set up and don't do, or things that they don't revisit or what have you. Is let's talk about the director of this movie.
Okay.
Movie was directed by Ted Demme. Um, and when you look up stuff about Ted, there's not a whole lot that he did that I know. His directing credits go for Yo MTV Raps, which you know, The Bet, No Cure for Cancer, Who's the Man, The Ref, Beautiful Girls, Homicide, Life on the Street, Gun, Subway Stories, Dennis Leary's Lock and Load, interesting.
Lock and loaded. Yeah.
Monument Avenue. Then he did Life, and then he did Blow, which is the Penelope Cruz and Johnny Depp movie. Um, and then, unfortunately, he was doing a celebrity basketball game and he died of a heart attack in 2002 while
Mhm.
doing it. And so he had a short career. And interestingly enough, the movie Punch Drunk Love, which is a PTA film with Adam Sandler, is dedicated to Mr. Demme.
Mm. Yeah, he had most of his career started MTV. I think he directed the Salt and Pepper Push It video. And
That's
then a
good.
lot of those things that you mentioned were he was connected with Dennis Leary a lot. The Ref is a Dennis Leary movie. Lock and Loaded was his stand-up comedy special, and he directed back in when Dennis Leary was becoming Dennis Leary. He did a lot of little short, I don't even know what you would call them, but they were just short little rants on MTV that would go on after videos or before commercials, where Dennis Leary would smoke in black and white and just rant about whatever Dennis Leary did back in his real cocaine fueled early days. And so he had a lot of connection to him. So he was kind of like an MTV hip hop connected kind of
Yeah.
director. And that makes sense for his involvement here also with the soundtrack. And then, yeah, he had a heart attack and there was cocaine in his system when he died.
Yeah.
So it's ironic that the last movie he made was called
Below.
Blow.
Yeah. No,
But he
tragic.
was definitely, yeah, absolutely. It definitely, I think he was 38, something like that.
Yeah.
Very
Real young.
young, and was definitely up and coming. It was a name that people knew, and he was, I think, the nephew of Jonathan Demme,
Okay.
the director. That's the Demme connection, and yeah, yeah, it's a bummer. It's too bad. So I guess peak of his powers when we get to that,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah,
he
for
was
sure.
cut short. Very sad.
Cut short. And the this movie, I don't know. Yeah, yeah, we'll talk about peak of his powers, but you also talk about the soundtrack. Wyclef Jean of the Fugees composed the entire score for this film, which is really cool. I always love when they do that, when they go to a non-traditional movie composer to do a score and just brings it a different element. I thought actually the score to this movie is really good.
Mhm.
And I think probably the best example of that in recent memory is and he now has gone on to be one of the guys is Trent Reznor
Yeah,
from Nine Inch Nails, who would I think maybe the first movie was Social Network
I think
that he
so.
did, and it was
And he won
so
an
well done.
Academy Award right away.
It was, but that score is amazing. That is an
Yeah.
amazing cinematics. That movie is actually an amazing movie. The Social Network is an incredible film.
What do you think about the sequel?
I'm open to it. I'm open to it. Let's see. Let's see. It's
Yeah.
Sorkin. I like Sorkin.
Mhm.
Most Sorkin I like, so I'm open to it. I didn't love being the Ricardos. A lot of people
No,
did.
I didn't either, and I'm a big, Lucy fan,
Me
so
too.
I knew a lot of that lore, story, history. So that I really wanted to like that. I agree on Social Network. I thought, as probably a lot of people did, what on earth is the movie about the making? Who cares about the making of Facebook? Why would that be an
Yeah.
interesting movie? And I remember when I turned it on, I was watching my brother's former wife was in SAG, so she used to get the screeners around
Screener.
Oscar time. It's the only good thing about her. And you're not supposed to share those, but she would. So I saw a lot of Oscar-nominated movies, and now I haven't seen any of them. But I remember putting on Social Network, and the first scene where it's the breakup scene, basically in the restaurant or whatever.
Yeah.
And I put it on, and then was trying to do something else at the same time.
I can't do that.
And I realized pretty quick, oh no, you have to pay attention to this movie. They're talking so fast and it's so interesting and it's so important that I had to start. Finished what I was doing, sat down, start again, and watched for free. Thanks.
And
to
isn't
that.
isn't that the scene that I think Fincher said, like he shot it 100 times or something like that?
That wouldn't surprise me.
I think he's known
That
for multiple.
that's hard. How did they do that? That's amazing. How do you do that?
And the thing with the Sorkin script is it's so wordy and it's so
Yeah.
dialogue heavy and it's so specific rhythm.
Yeah, that's where his page count does not. One page is not a minute in a Sorkin
No,
movie. You could have
it's a
a
few
300-page script, and that's like an hour and a half.
Exactly. So I don't know. Oh yeah, we were talking about the score.
So score.
Black Club John.
Danny Elfman is a
Danny
fine
Elfman.
example too. Danny Elfman
Yes.
was the lead singer of Oingo Boingo, and then all of a sudden he was doing scores, and now he's one of the most famous film composers of all time.
Yeah, and a lot of that was that collaboration with Tim Burton. I think was really like a lot of the big ones. The Batman theme, everybody
Oh my
remembers
gosh.
from '89.
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice, Nightmare Before Christmas. So many that he would go on to do. So that is our. I don't know what category we were. Oh, we were on the cinematic shots.
We were doing shots. We went to score.
Yes. What do you have for your? Do you have a favorite quote? One-liner legend?
You're gonna eat your cornbread. A lot of the quotes I will not say that are good in this movie.
Can't say it.
I won't.
Mm-hmm.
And when I want to. My count is very low. I think my count is 0.
Yes, as is mine.
I'm proud to say. So no, so cornbread is safe. And it's the one I
Yes.
think people know most from this movie. That if you say you're gonna eat your cornbread, if you know life, you know.
The Pappy.
I think if you've seen the movie, you know it. In my research afterwards, I didn't realize that was such a iconic line, and I think the laughter that they all do in the line is genuine because I don't think it was scripted. You could tell they're all having a lot of fun. They looked like they were having a ball. That's kind of why I had a problem with the makeup at the end. It's like, oh, they're having fun. It's like Halloween. We're old.
Yes, I do think that the laughter was legitimate, and that's also the power of Bernie Mac. Like, have you ever heard the Steve Harvey story about Bernie Mac for Kings of Comedy?
I don't think so.
So Bernie was the Kings of Comedy, of course, is Bernie, Cedric, the Entertainer, D.L. Hughley, and Steve Harvey. And Steve was originally the closer, and then it would be Cedric before Steve, DL before Cedric, and Bernie would open. Well, Bernie starts opening. Okay. Bernie starts opening, and DL goes to Steve, and it's like, bro, I cannot follow this guy. Like, it's so hard. Like, can I go on first? And so they move Bernie to the second spot. And then they do a couple more tour stops. And Cedric's like, hey, I don't want to follow him either. It's so difficult to follow him. Let's switch spots. So then he starts opening. I mean, he was the third spot right before Steve. Steve does it for like 2 shows and goes, okay, I'm just going to host the show. We're going to put Bernie last. And that's going to be what it is because he's just too funny to follow. And that was the story of the Kings of Comedy. And I think that even in the scene where he says, I'm the Pat, you know when they were getting ready to do that scene, Bernie was standing there, and they know they're all going to say, "I'm the dad, I'm the boy's father, I'm the this." You know, he's like, "Ooh, wait till they get to me. I got something for their
Yeah.
ass. I got
Right.
something for
And they
their
may
ass.
not even use it, but I'm going to make them all laugh
Yeah, I'm gonna pop him with this one.
for today.
I'm the
Yeah.
pappy, you know." And it was so hilarious that yeah, I do believe that was like all legitimate reaction that they left in the movie. And sometimes those organic moments are the most are the best moments of this medium. You know, is when you're able to capture something that's organic and real, where everyone's present and engaged and on the same wavelength, and the reactions are pure and genuine in the
Mhm.
most human way possible. That is the art of great cinema, to be able to have that in a movie, even a movie as silly as Life is. That is such a great microcosm of what makes this art form so incredible.
And I think capturing a real laugh, people can try, you best actors in the world. It's like faking a sneeze. It's never 100% accurate. I think of Wayne's World for whatever reason, where they're sitting on the car watching the airplanes, and Garth asks Wayne, "Were you ever attracted to Bugs Bunny when he used to wear a dress and uh, play a girl buddy?" And Mike Myers is laughing. I think he's even laughing at something else they got to take from or whatever. But Mike Myers laughs so hard and it's so real. It makes you just laugh because the laugh is real.
The laugh is real.
Laughter is contagious.
It is, and that's why that's my one-liner legend. It's hard for me to beat that one. What's the next category we got here, Jeff?
I've got the prop shop pick.
Oh yes, what do you got for this one?
Well, I don't feel good about it because I would take it, but then I would return it immediately because I'd feel bad about having it, and that's Ray's Daddy's watch.
Oh yeah.
I would admire it and then say, I don't want this on my shelf. I don't want this with me because it's not good. That's his dad's watch, but he shouldn't have gambled with it.
He shouldn't have gambled with it. The watch is a good one. I actually went very obscure. I went very obscure
Okay.
with this one, and I'm going back to the Ray's Boom Boom Room scene, and I want the outfit Martin Lawrence was wearing. Powder
Is it
blue
blue?
jacket.
Blue, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
yeah, that's what
All
I
right.
want that. I want that so
That's
bad. I
nice.
was like, that is a great little costume to have
Yeah.
hanging in your closet. Do you know I do have a piece
Okay.
of movie memorabilia? Have I ever told you this story? Um, do you remember the movie with Brad Pitt called Moneyball?
Yes.
Okay. There used to be this auction website.
Do you have the money ball?
I don't have the Moneyball, but there used to be this auction
Okay.
website whose name I forget, but it was like a website where they would exclusively deal movie props. And you could go and bid on them, and they were from the archives or the wardrobe department or whatever. And they had some Back to the Future lots on there. So obviously, I went to go see what they had and went to go bid, and I was outbid on everything that I bid on for Back to the Future because I don't have that kind of disposable income. But I was
Yeah.
like
You
looking
need a
through.
not big hit.
Yeah, I was looking through to see like, okay, what else do they have? And they had a um Giorgio Armani sweater that Brad Pitt wore in Moneyball. And the starting bid was like $5. And so I just put in a $5 bid, didn't
Yeah.
think about it. And it's one of those websites where you have to link your card to it before you can bid. And so
Mm.
didn't think about it. And weeks later, I get a package in the mail, and there is Brad Pitt's Giorgio Armani sweater from Moneyball that still hangs in my closet.
$5?
$5. $5. Subsequently, that
Mhm.
website is now out of business.
Yeah, how
But
are you gonna make money on that kind of you can't give
yeah,
away Armani sweaters that Brad Pitt wore for
$5.
$5.
Yeah, but I have that somewhere in my house. It's still
Okay.
there, and it's the Brad Pitt sweater from Moneyball. So yeah, I would like the Martin Lawrence jacket. That's my prop shop. What do you have
Could
next,
be
Jeff?
right there in your closet next to the
Brad
sweater.
Pitt sweater.
I have What Happens Next.
Yes, the Marty Something's Gotta Be Done About Your Kids
Something's
award
got
for
to be
what
done about
happens
your
next.
kids. If there was another scene that explained what happened, this movie ends. They get out. They finally get away through a fire that isn't set up at all, but they do it. Okay, sure. And they go to a Yankee game because they talk about baseball twice. So they go to a Yankee game and they have fun, even though they can't even see the stadium, and Ray isn't even sure the Yankees are. But they go. That's nice. And then for what I just have, then what happens after that? Well, they've been in prison for a very long time. They have to figure out if they can't see who the players are on the stadium. I don't even know how they got to the stadium in the first place. So I don't think they're going to have to go to an old folks home and live together. And it's going to be basically life too, where it's the same kind of characters, except the prison guards are now the doctors and the nurses, and it's going to be like Cuckoo's Nest, and that's where their new life is, and they have just a whole new array, and that's where Bernie Mac passed away. That's where Bernie Mac would have come back.
Oh, that's actually great. That's great. I had what happens the next day is that they're picked up. They're picked up outside of.
Oh, they go back. They get caught.
They go back to prison.
Oh yeah, they end up on the jumbotron.
Yeah,
and they're recognized.
Yeah, as two escapees, and they go back to prison.
Yeah. Yeah, then they become like internet famous because now like a true crime podcast would reveal that they were innocent, and then they would be released. Because it does end in 98, I think. It's the modern day Rosie O'Donnell show was on TV when they're still locked up.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what's crazy is that we do live in a world where a podcast has gotten people out of prison. You know? Like the Serial podcast is the famous one with Adnan Syed.
Yeah, what are we doing? Well, we're just wasting time here. Here we are, podcast. We're not saving anybody's lives. Or you know, maybe we are.
Now,
if we are, comment,
like, and subscribe. Welcome to my channel.
Hit the bell
for notifications, of course. I have Peak of Their Powers next.
Yes,
is that what you have? Okay.
Yep.
So let's go through it. Let's go through some of the cast here. So we talked about Ted Demme. Is Blow peak of his powers or is Life?
Blow.
Yeah, I think Blow's peak of his powers.
So he was on his way, and then we don't know.
We don't know what
he could have gone the way of Guy Ritchie, where it's like, hey, you know, didn't follow through, but he could have. Who will never know.
I'm thinking. So just some names that I'm just pop out at me. Anthony Anderson, not peak of his powers.
Oh, just starting
out. Okay, let's talk about Martin Lawrence.
Yeah, I would say this is peak for him for me. I think because this is still in the middle when Bad Boys. I mean, the new Bad Boys did great, but was it because of him?
I think it.
I don't think you could have done it without him, but
it's a legacy sequel too that we have to consider.
That's true. That's true.
If you look at his movie run, I'm not talking about Martin, and I'm not talking about stand-up. I'm talking about just movies. So let's take a 10-year run and just see what we think here. Starting off with Bad Boys, I'll give it to him. A Thin Line Between Love and Hate, Nothing to Lose, Life, Blue Streak, Big Mama's House, What's the Worst That Could Happen, Black Knight, National Security, Bad Boys 2.
Ooh, Bad Boys 2 is pretty big.
It is big. I think that's the end of his run.
But Big Mama's House was very big too, and that was all on his shoulders.
Yeah,
his Big Mama shoulders, and he made 3 of those.
But this is in the peak. This is in the run.
Yeah,
90s. I think it goes Life, Blue Streak, Big Mama's House, Bad Boys 2. Like that's peak. But this is in the peak. This is in the peak of his powers. Yeah. But then we have to discuss Eddie.
Eddie is like how
it's not peak of his powers.
Way back in the last season, we looked at Bill Murray and Lost in Translation. It was a month ago, but it was way back in season 1. And this is kind of a similar spot where he was doing comedy still that weren't really hitting big, and then he tried for something dramatic, and then it changed his career. So this is Eddie Murphy starting Eddie 2.0. So it's hard. He's got one of those careers that has several peaks. It's definitely not a peak like at the 80s peak. And Nutty Professor was a weird, and Bowfinger were kind of weird flukes compared to the other ones that we mentioned already that were like big, like, and this lost money too. This was not a big hit either. This budget was like $80 million and worldwide, and that's a lot in 99. And worldwide it made 70 something. So this did not perform. So I would say we're at the bottom of Eddie Murphy. I'll put this still at 1.0. And 2.0 doesn't really start until maybe Dreamgirls.
I think, well, let's look at the run. Let's look at it because Eddie 2.0. Okay. Here's the filmography. Let me pull it back up here. Here we go. So Eddie's run, I think his initial run is this. I think it's 48 Hours, Trading Places, Beverly Hills Cop, Golden Child, Beverly Hills Cop 2, Raw, Coming to America, Harlem Nights, another 48 Hours, and Boomerang. I think that's peak. That run.
Yeah. Once you get to Harlem Nights, you're starting to go down.
To dip.
Coming to America was definitely the peak.
Maybe it's Coming to America then. Let's go 48 Hours to Coming to America is the initial peak of Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
And then he does Harlem Nights, another 48 Hours, Boomerang, Distinguished Gentleman, then Beverly Hills Cop 3, Vampire in Brooklyn, Nutty Professor, Mulan.
Yeah, but I think Mulan has gotten more credit now because the kids that saw that in that era are now the parents and they're reintroducing it. If he was known for voice back in that time, it was Donkey. It wasn't Mushu.
It was Donkey, not Mushu. And then because you get Mulan, Dr. Dolittle, Bowfinger, Nutty Professor 2, Shrek, and then Dr. Dolittle 2.
Shrek is huge, but Shrek is also ensemble, and
it's Mike Myers' movie.
Yeah, we love Donkey, but it's not.
Love Donkey.
But Shrek is Shrek, and Shrek is Shrek.
So I think that really, look, this category is peak of their powers. It's not, they're getting ready to do their second run, because to me,
don't tell me, Brad Gilmore, what this category is. I'll tell you what this category is.
I think that this is past prime Eddie Murphy.
It's not peak.
It's not peak. He's not the peak of his powers. His peak was already there. It was Eddie in the 80s. Eddie in the 80s was the peak.
Eddie in the 80s.
Yeah. That was the peak.
That should be the documentary.
That should be the documentary.
And don't let Eddie Murphy be in the documentary, because Eddie Murphy likes Eddie Murphy too much.
He's a big fan of Eddie Murphy. But I am too.
No one loves him. I am too, but not as much as he is.
Wait, he really loves some Eddie Murphy. Let's see. After this one, we have, I know we have some new categories, so I'm not sure if we're in here yet.
Well, we still have, is this true?
Oh yeah. What did you find? Is it true trivia? What did you find that you thought was interesting?
Yeah, I think it's probably already all been mentioned. It was just, I don't think I skipped this one. You better say something.
Okay. Well, I mean, is this true trivia? Eddie Murphy and Heavy D have been in 2 movies together, and
really?
Neither of them they share scenes. It was this movie and then Tower Heist from the 2010s.
Ooh, yeah, Eddie.
Yeah, we talk about not peak.
Yeah, poor Eddie.
There's a scene where, yes, there's a scene where Claude says, "What's the worst that could happen?" And then that turns out to be a Martin Lawrence.
That's the name of the movie. Yeah, we found out because the movie came out.
Eddie Murphy and Eddie Murphy's son and Martin Lawrence's daughter are getting married.
That's pretty good. You're not going to have that on any other trivia.
Yeah. I'm trying
Rick
to see
James. Should we mention that Rick James is in this movie?
Rick James is in this movie.
Spanky.
Yeah. So that's just a stretch. Just
weird.
Strange.
That's a weird. I guess one, you mentioned cameos that take you out. You're like, is that Rick James?
But of course, Rick and Eddie have their relationship together from Party All the Time, and
my girl wants to.
They do. She just wants to
party all the time.
He puts diamonds on your finger. I'm
gonna put you in my movie.
So that's some of the is it true trivia?
Stuff. That's good stuff.
Sequel, prequel, prestige is what I have.
Yeah, I would. If this category is basically, would you give it a sequel? We basically mentioned 2 different sequels that could be done. They either go back to jail or they go to the old folks' home. I don't know if we need a prequel, although you like that. You loved that time period where
I did
they're
like the time
before they
period,
went
the
to
30s.
life. That was good. I think for me, 8 episodes, prestige TV is the way to go because then we can meet the other inmates better.
Completely agree. Like
Because
you could
that's,
do
I
a
mean, that's a
whole
compliment. A compliment I'll give the movie is that I wanted more of not the main characters, but of the supporting guys. And
I
I wanted to
agree.
know why the not Samuel Jackson was doing his thing. I wanted to know who the lady was making pies right next door to the inmates and sticking them out of the window, feeling confident. And I want to know like who was sitting next to them at the baseball game.
Well, I love, like you said, like I love Jangle Leg, I love Biscuit, I love Cookie, I love
Yeah.
Poker Face, and to be able to spend some time with them
And
and
then we could
understand more.
have, yeah, we could have given Biscuit more time to make up his mind because, boy, he comes to that decision, a pretty big choice of hopelessness that he did seem like he was wrestling with too much in the movie, other
Yeah.
than Eddie Murphy deciding, hey, let's talk about it. You look sad. And then you'll be okay. You'll get out of jail. I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to go dance with this lady. And then he runs to the gun line.
Yeah.
It's a bummer, but it just seemed like, oh, we're changing gears now.
We should a little bit of a tonal shift,
A tonal
as it
shift.
were.
It's a bit of a tonal shift, as they
There's a
say.
bit of a tonal
It is
shift.
wild tonal stuff. I did not know you could adjust tone. No.
Um, you know what? We also didn't talk about, but I agree with you, Prestige TV, and I also just want to give a shout out to the gorgeous Sanaa Lathan, who's in this movie. We didn't talk about her and peak of her powers. She would go on to have a hell of a career, and life was kind of at the very beginning of her run, because she would go and do Brown Sugar. She would do, I mean, a lot of movies that maybe you have seen, maybe you haven't, but Best Man, Perfect Guy, Now You See Me Too. I mean, movies that maybe aren't like the best in the world, but oh, she did Love and Basketball. That's the movie I was trying to look for. She did Love and
Listen,
Basketball and Brown Sugar, two movies that I really like a lot,
you
and
could
she did a ton
tell
of television.
Brad likes her because you notice how he got so close to the microphone as he's talking to her that this has become like a weird ASMR moment
Look,
in the podcast.
Sanaa Lathan is 54 right now, and she looks 34. She's gorgeous. This is a gorgeous woman.
All right.
Um,
So another shout
fun.
out, Judy Greer.
Sanaa Lathan.
We're just
Mm,
using
mm,
this as Tinder
mm.
right now.
Swipe, swipe, swipe. Well, you have some new categories, Jeff. So why don't we get into
Yeah.
those?
So this one is a category that I can't believe we didn't come up with before because it's all based around our time in doing an entire Clue podcast. And that's what could have happened, but what about this category? An alternative ending. Like, yes, they could have come up with this scheme out of thin air and burned down the house and then got 2 bodies from the morgue unnoticed by anybody, burned the bodies, nobody checked, and then went to a location with 40,000 people at Yankee Stadium, the busiest of all baseball stadiums, and didn't expect to get caught. It could end that way, happy ending, or this will be more fun, and I think in later episodes of Pick Six because we could go crazy. But the only obvious way is just go darker and decide, oh, they don't get out and they die. Or I think I felt that's where it was going. Like, are they going to get out of prison? I guess that would be kind of a downer because the whole movie is about hope and living your life and not letting the system keep you down. And the system is rigged against you, but eventually you can escape. I just guess the ending to me felt another one of those moments. I used the term already unearned, but I think there were a lot of moments in this movie. Either maybe things changed because there was so much improvising, or things got deleted, or whatever. But I'm a big fan of setup payoff. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be so. Yes, I need to say what, but it'd be nice if you look back and go, oh, like nobody checks the morgue.
Yeah.
We have access to the morgue. Something about the morgue. or seeing like a glimpse of maybe Ray like sneaking off at the end. Now it's just kind of like Stranger Things finale, where it's just like that could have been that way. They were, what, they all live. Everybody lived. They're fine.
Yeah, I think as far as that's how it could have happened is yes, and I think in other movies we could really go crazy with this, but I think that's how it could. Here's what happened, but that's how it could have happened. Would be um, somehow, and this is kind of dark, but I think that a fitting ending would be like they decide once their plan starts to go awry and the morgue isn't working out, right? They just decide to stand in the fire, just
Yeah.
die, just die together. You
Just
know what I
hold
mean?
hands like Toy Story 3.
Like Toy Story 3. Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. We're
And
going
then
out
the
together.
aliens save them,
Oh yes.
and then they get out. That's definitely a weird finale. Or there's a moment where Martin Lawrence says, "I wish I had never met you, Teddy Murphy." Talk about a totally different ending. Let's go all the way back 20 minutes into the film. Eddie Murphy does not follow him into the bathroom at all, and Martin Lawrence becomes a great banker, has a family, and Eddie Murphy opens a boom
Opens the
boom
boom
room.
boom room. Yeah, yeah.
It's-
Um,
That's different.
we have the Indiana Jones monkey's brain for best use of food or drink in a movie.
Yes.
Is it not the cornbread scene?
Cornbread is very obvious. I also
Pie,
white people pie,
white people pie.
white folk pie. Yeah, and that's the
Yeah,
one I'll say. But yeah, pie is definitely a catalyst in this movie. So and cornbread too. The
and
food,
cornbread
the
too.
tooth, the sweet tooth causes issue
Now
in
let me
this
ask
movie.
you this. Let me ask you this. You're a California native. You're living
Yes,
in the New England area now. Um,
yes,
where do you sit on cornbread?
I love cornbread.
You're a cornbread guy. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like in the South, it's like so normal to have cornbread all the time. So I don't know if it's
yeah.
as much of a thing in other parts of the country.
If you go to a barbecue place, then it's still typical in places I've gone. I don't think I've been to barbecue here, but in California for sure. But you do have some food there that has surprised me that you thought, what was the breakfast thing when I visited you
Grits?
out there in Houston? No, we went to the donut place and you said, we're getting
Oh,
this. And
kolache.
kolache, I never heard of that.
That is so
And then
wild.
I Googled it in your car and it said, this is Texas.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
strange.
And
Like and like
both of our worlds changed.
a kolache is such a huge thing in Texas, and like there's like the kolache factory and the kolache shop and the kolache this and the kolache that, and you get the Big Earl from Shipley's, and like such a known thing that I'm always perplexed when people don't know it.
Why do you think kolache hasn't crossed the border?
I don't know because the best way I
It
can
was
describe a
delicious. It
kolache,
was great. I loved
it's
it.
like a breakfast hot dog,
I haven't had it since.
right? Like, isn't that the best description of it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
I'm gonna make one
and
today.
you should.
It's
It's
not
like,
complicated.
have you ever had pigs in a blanket?
Yeah, it's like
It's
that.
kind of like a big pigs in a blanket,
Yeah,
right?
and delicious.
Oh, it's the best.
Could tell
It's
it's
the
getting
best.
lunchtime,
I'm
folks.
very hungry. Um, I also say the
I want
best
cornbread and a kolache.
the best email address you could create from this movie was a
Oh
category that
yeah.
at first I was pitched it as a different name, but it was my racehorse idea. But we've changed that because that's somebody else's, and I want to go with the best email address you can make. And to me, it's I the Pappy at pick6podcast.com.
Yeah, I would say raise boom boom, but be careful because that might be a website.
Oh, yeah, you might want to be
We
very
don't
careful.
know. And eat your cornbread at whatever.com
Eat your
is
cornbread at pick6podcast.com is great.
yeah.
Raise
We
boom
better
boom at
get
pick6podcast.com is great.
yeah.
Okay, replace with a Tim.
Oh yeah, this is a weird category that I thought of because we were last season we had would you replace with Jack Nicholson or Denzel Washington,
Denzel.
and that was fun. And we I thought, well, why don't we do some different ones? And you had said, well, why don't we bring in somebody more younger or current and like Tim
Chalamet.
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 And I thought, yeah, that's good. And now let me take that and make it old again by saying, okay, then we'll replace it. The category will be which Tim, and we'll have that young Tim, or Tim Curry, Tim Meadows, or Tim Robbins.
Yeah.
So definitely showing age, SNL, and Clue. And in this one, I think it's very obvious, at least for me, to throw Tim Robbins in for the Shawshank Redemption connection and have him just play a different kind of character, because I felt this was kind of a light Shawshank in a lot of ways, and it kind of maybe unfairly, but it does start with a narration that I don't know if we needed, but it does. And that reminded me of Shawshank. And then Tim Robbins, could just, this Shawshank was 5 years before this, 94. And I don't know if Shawshank by 99 had become the greatest movie of all time as it's considered now. But it would be interesting to have that prison movie tie-in. And Tim Robbins is usually game for weird things like Tenacious D or the aforementioned High Fidelity.
Yeah, I like Tim Robbins in it. You could throw Timothy Chalamet in there. You could throw an old pro wrestler named Killer Tim Brooks in there. But what I'm going with is I'm replacing, because look, I'm thinking about how we're going to get some box office here. Okay, it's 99. I want a big star. I want a big star that we can squeeze in this movie, right? Somebody who may have been in the middle of their peak, in the middle of their run, right? But let's throw him in and like maybe not like the biggest role possible, but just like he's around and we can get some jokes off. And who would have ever thought you would see Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, and then the correctional officer played by Tim Allen, who has some
true 99
background.
Oh yes, going back to cocaine.
Prison background.
Yeah.
We can play the other side of it.
Yeah.
Because Tim Allen,
I think, strange little man.
You're a sad, strange little man. And I think he spent a couple years in prison in the 70s.
One of the most famous mugshots that you'll see is young Tool Man. I wonder if they called him that back then in jail.
I don't know.
The Tool Man.
I will say this.
I don't think so, Tim.
I just the other day, I was at the CW and I was getting ready to go in and do my segment, and I walk in the studio and there's a guest in the middle of an interview with one of our co-anchors. Shout out to Sharon. And I'm looking and I turn to the producer who's 24 years or 25 years old. His name's Brendan. I go, "Hey, is that Al Borland?" He's like, "Who?"
No.
He goes, "No, this guy." He literally goes, "Who?" I go, "Al Borland." He goes, "No, I think his name's Richard." And I go, "No, I know." I was he's from Home Improvement. He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And I go, "The show with Tim Allen?"
He doesn't work at Home Improvement store. He's an actor.
He had no idea. And
I'm
like, and then I looked and I'm like, "Oh, that is Richard Karn, who is Al Borland on the show." And then we talked about the Seahawks and the Patriots for a long time because he's a Seattle guy. And then, we took a nice little photo with each other. But that was one of two great interactions I had this week. The other great interaction I had this week was I was at the press event
for podcast
for Apple.
Right?
Yes, exactly. I was at the press event for Apple, and I'm standing there in the media room, and Harrison Ford walks by. And Harrison Ford passes. He's 6 inches away from me, right? And he's walking with a purpose, so I'm not going to stop him. But he walks by, 83 years young, and I realized in that moment, this is legitimately the first thought that went in my head. The very first thing I thought, as this icon of cinema is walking by, I go, "Holy crap, I'm taller than Indiana Jones." That's the first thing that was in my head. I was like, "I'm taller than Indiana Jones."
How tall is he?
He must be 5.
Wow. I'm surprised.
Now maybe
that's what happens when you stand next to Carrie Fisher in 3 movies. You're gonna look like a giant. I thought he was gonna point at you. He's famous for pointing. I had a very similar thing when back in the 90s, I walked by at Disneyland Arnold Schwarzenegger and thought the same thing. He's not that tall.
Is he not?
Arnold's not tall? He was I don't know if he was governor yet. But yeah, I'm 6'2".
Yeah, you're tall.
I was taller, so I felt good for a minute. And then I realized, well, he's got everything else going for him. I'm just walking.
He's got money, power, fame, muscles.
But I will always be taller.
But you'll be taller than
It's
Arnold,
like
and I'll be
it's
taller
like
than
this.
Indy.
It's like the story I just heard recently on a podcast. Chris Farley was dating one of Lorne Michaels' assistants or something like that, and they broke up, and he was all upset. And then he went off and filmed the movie, and he came back and he was talking with Spade, as he does, and somebody else. And he said, "So, she come crawling back yet?" And he's like, "No, I don't think so." It's my Spade. And he said, "Well, whoever I heard she's got some new boy toy, and whoever he is, he's not funnier, he's not richer, and one other thing." And he then found out that she was dating Steve Martin after Farley. So 0 for 3, whatever the third one was.
Oh, that reminds me of the other David Spade story where I think he was dating Laura Flynn Boyle, and she tells him that like, oh hey, I'm going out tonight or something or whatever, and no, they were at like an MTV thing, and he met Jack Nicholson, and Jack Nicholson told David Spade, "Hey, Spade, I'm gonna steal your girlfriend," like, and David's like, "Ha, what?"
Yeah.
And then they end up getting into like a automobile accident or something, and like a little fender bender, and it was on the news, and it's like actress Laura Flynn Boyle and Jack Nicholson in a fender bender in their limousine. He's like, "Ah, rats." But anyway, that's my Tim. That's my Tim Allen.
That's good.
We're doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
Did we have another new category?
No, I think we've hit the
That was it.
end. Yeah,
I think
for
we're at
now,
the end.
We're still evolving. It's season 2 now, and we want to get
We're
creative.
through it. We're workshopping these categories. If you
Yeah.
have any suggestions, tweet us or Instagram message us. I would love to get some category ideas of what we can do on the Pick Six pod. But Jeff, okay, final determination.
Yes.
Would you recommend Life?
I would recommend Life. I thought it could have been better, but it was still pretty good. So
I think
liked it.
that's the best characterization of this movie. It could have been more. There was a lot of opportunity to be bigger and funnier, but when the credits rolled, I go, I had fun with that. That was fun.
Okay. Now, you had said at the top that you hadn't seen it since the first time you watched it again. How has your opinion of it changed in the downtime? Did you like it more? Did you like it less? Did you like it the same?
I liked it the same. Okay. I remember I was like, oh, I know why I like this movie. When I watched it, I go, oh yeah, I remember why I like this, why this stuck with me, why I wanted to suggest it. I had a lot of fun, and I love Eddie. He's just such an icon to me. So him in anything I can watch, but yeah, this one in particular, I didn't like it more or less. It was the same, but I did enjoy Life, and I'm glad that we got to sit and chat about it.
For sure.
Now, what is though?
I wonder what we're going to talk about next one. Now, I sent you a list before we started, which you did not respond to.
Oh, I didn't even see it.
They may our fine listeners may get some behind the scenes. Is there anything on there that you have seen?
One of them.
Is it close to the top or the bottom?
It's the second from the bottom.
Okay, good. Okay. Then you haven't seen the one on top?
No.
All right, there it is. So I don't even have to goose around it anymore. We are going to look at, I think, from the year maybe 86. Let me look, everybody. Hold on. But it's a movie that
86.
I love. 86. We're going to look at a young Corey Haim. It is not with a Feldman. There's no Feldman in this movie. There is a Chuck Sheen. It is a movie called Lucas. A young Winona Ryder, a young Cary Green, fresh off of Goonies. This is a team sports kind of movie. Feel good? Have you heard of it?
I haven't even heard of it. I'm looking at the cast.
Lucas.
Jeremy Piven, Gary Cole, Corey Haim, Charlie Sheen.
Yeah. Oh, good. Folks, we're going to Lucas.
Okay, Lucas is up next on Pick Six. I'm excited. Yeah. I've never even heard of it.
I haven't seen that in a while either, and I have very good memories of it. I hope it
holds up.
Holds up.
Well, you know what? For the General Jeff Smith, my name is Bo Brad Gilmore. This has been the Pick Six podcast where we were talking life. And now Moving on to singular movie titles, singular word movie titles. We're going to Lucas.
Starts with L.
Another L. And we'll be
Okay.
back with Lucas on season 2, episode 2 of Pick Six.